welcome to this edition of Gentle Somatic Yoga and Other Tools. Today's theme is deep listening, and I started reading a book by Jillian Pransky called A Healing Practice to Calm Your Body, Clear Your Mind, and Open Your Heart. And I love a lot of the things that she says and does in here. So I actually thought we could start with let's start with a standing practice. And so just move your feet around, because in order to get grounded, you do have to notice how your feet are touching the ground, whether you sense them fully on the ground, or you're leaning out or leaning in, or your knees are kind of doing something weird. So just do that. And if you feel safe to do so, go ahead and do that with your eyes closed. And then the contemplation that I'd like you to start off with is, imagine you're looking at a photograph of yourself from a time you really felt grounded. You felt steady, safe, relaxed, and at ease. Now, if you don't have a real memory of yourself being like this, you could make up one. So as you're standing here, feeling your feet on the earth, visualizing this, hopefully with eyes closed, if you feel safe to do so, see if you can, in your mind's eye, picture the environment. In other words, what's surrounding you. What's under your body? Is it a floor or the earth? What do you look like when you feel grounded? What's your posture like? And then we're going to do a meditation experience next. And this meditation experience can be done either in a chair or seated on the ground. Okay? I'm going to do mine in a chair today. This is called the hourglass meditation. So make sure your feet are firmly on the ground when you're doing this. And if you are unable to have your feet on the ground, then elevate the ground either with a block or a couple of books so that your feet are flat on something. So your eyes can be opened or closed. As you're breathing, lengthen your exhale just a little bit longer than your inhale. So do a few breaths like this, where you have a normal inhale and a slightly lengthened exhale. Notice where your body is meeting the support of the chair or the floor. Now bring to mind the image of an hourglass that was just turned upside down, and the sand is emptying from the top to the bottom. So envision your body as this hourglass and start to drain the sand out of your upper body into the lower body every time you exhale. Let all the heaviness empty from your head, the neck, and the shoulders. So when you're finished draining all the sand from the top to the bottom, just pause and breathe a couple of times. Let your inhale expand your torso, and then allow the sand to leave your belly and flow down even further into the pelvis, the legs, and the feet. Visualize all that sand coming down into the feet now, helping you land on the ground completely. Then place a hand on the heart and the other hand on your belly, and concentrate on the breath beneath your hands. For the next few minutes, stay grounded as your breath flows in and out of your body. You may notice being repeatedly pulled away from your breath, but each time you drift away, don't make a big deal about it. Just simply invite your attention kindly back to the breath. One last time, sense all the sand down at your feet, connecting you to the earth. And when you're ready, you can open up your eyes and we'll go back to standing to do some movement postures. So part of deep listening is getting very grounded, because we can't really listen closely when we're scattered all over the place and when we're either pondering the past or worrying about the future. We tend not to be very present. So if you're going to be using a chair for any of this, for balance, you could have it by your side. It's not necessary, but in case you feel like using it. So go ahead and lift opposite arm to opposite knee. And if you need the chair, it's there for you. You could even face the chair. Breathing, just getting our heart rates up just a little bit today. Use your breath, move your body, wake things up. And then go ahead and come back to stillness. And we'll do the super brain activity, which is really great for people with ADHD. Also helps people with a variety of cognitive issues as we age as well. So on this one, you'll take the right hand and reach for the right earlobe, and the left hand and reach for the left earlobe. If you can, take the tongue and put it on the roof of the mouth. And I want you to visualize the third eye as we're doing this. If you feel like you need more support, you can lean against the wall to do this, because we're doing a slight squat. You can go as shallow or deep as you want. So it could be just like this, bending the knees and going up, or against the wall. like this, having the wall support you, using your breath, looking at the third eye, keeping your tongue at the roof of your mouth. Go ahead and release the arms, shake things out, maybe just move a shoulder and the other shoulder around. And just notice how your head is feeling. Mm-hmm. All right. So we'll go into a lunge series. Once again, you don't need to have the chair there, but if you want to have the chair there, just make sure the inside leg is moving, the one. So if I was lunging, it would be with my inside leg and back. But again, if you're not using the chair, you would just do it like this. Try to do this smoothly. Listen to your body, how it's responding. Make any minor adjustments that you need in order to make this effective and nourishing, but you want to, feel something. Now, the next time, go ahead and leave it back there. Either keep your hand on the chair or your hand up with the other hand. And then, well, if your hand is up, you can lean like this. If your hand's on the chair, keep it on the chair. Use a chair or even a wall to lean over and come back. If you're doing it without a chair, you're leaning toward the side of the back leg and back. Draw the arm down. So if you're not using the chair at all, I want you to twist toward the opposite side, toward the front leg. If you're using the chair, keep your arm there, twisting open just a little bit. The twist should be felt from the waist through the shoulders, not into the hips. Twisting it open, coming back to neutral, twisting it open, and coming back to neutral. Draw this leg back up, shake things out. Now, either do a regular downward dog, or you can do a chair dog or wall dog. And make sure if you're doing a chair dog that your chair is stable enough that it won't slip when you keep your hands on it and step away. Draw the navel in, bend the knees, lengthening the spine and breathing. If you're doing a regular dog, make sure that you're feeling this as a lengthening of spine, not necessarily a hamstring stretch. We stretch the hamstrings more safely on the ground. Walk up to the chair. Feel the back body engage. Lengthen the front body. Lift the chin. And if you want to make this a little more challenging, come up to the balls of the feet. Now, if you're doing a regular version of this on the ground, your hands are by your chest and you're lifting up and you might not be on your balls or your feet standing, obviously. Whichever one you're doing, go ahead. And if you're on the ground, you could just windshield wiper your legs. If you're standing, go ahead and walk around. So there are benefits to doing both of these things. There are benefits to doing it on the ground, and there are benefits to using a chair and doing this as a standing routine. As I have aged, I tend to prefer this more. I do like doing things on the ground, but I don't like the up and down quite as much. I prefer doing all my standing and then all my sitting and then all my on the ground. So that's your choice if you don't mind still the up and down. So we're going to repeat this whole sequence to the other side. If you're using the chair, it's the inside leg, go back, other arm up, come forward. Whichever way you're doing this, make this smooth, like just one step back and one step forward. Try not to have to do too many adjustments. See if your weight can transfer smoothly. Next time, leave the leg back. If you're using the chair, put the hand back on the chair. The opposite arm is up. If you're not using the chair, we're leaning toward the back leg, that side. And come back to standing, neutral, leaning over, and back to neutral. And third time, and neutral. So we're going to open to the back of the room toward the front bent leg. So this is the twisting action from the waist through the shoulder. And you can do this with both arms or just with the one arm. Opening and closing, opening and closing, and third time. Draw this leg back up to meet the other leg, shake things out, and do either another regular downward dog or wall dog or chair dog. Lengthen the spine. So really focus on the spine being lengthened. The front body is engaged. Whichever dog you're doing, if you bend the knees, you're releasing the hamstrings. And this makes it more about the spine and less about tight hips and hamstrings. Use your breath. Walk close to the chair or come down to the floor. Now feel the lengthening in the front body as you engage the back body. And if you're on the floor, you're trying to use the back body and not your arms so much to lift yourself. You can also visualize that here in the air or even press against a wall. And then go ahead and release that. If you're on the ground, you could windshield wiper your legs. If you're standing, you could walk. Let's see if I can do opposite arm and leg. It's a good practice. If you're on the ground, you could practice crawling. Crawling is so good for us. And make sure you're crawling with opposite knee and opposite hand so that you're really getting this feel. Okay, go ahead and shake that out. And we can do our twisting series either seated on a chair or seated and on the ground. I think I'll go on the ground now. So this will be a series of seated postures. And then we'll move into our mudra from here before going down completely. So wherever you're seated, go ahead and get comfortable. Now, if you're in the chair for the twist, obviously your feet are on the ground. If you're on the ground, you can do the twist in either cross-leg position or in deer or mermaid position. You decide which is more appropriate for you. The only thing I will tell you is if you're doing deer or mermaid, you're just going to go one direction. So you have to go toward the front leg. If you're sitting cross-leg, it's not as important which direction you go. So whichever one you're doing, whichever leg position you're doing, take the opposite arm of the direction you're going and grab the shoulder of the arm of the direction you're turning toward. So for me, I am going to be turning to the right. I've taken my left arm and placed it on my right shoulder. Okay. So when I twist, I'm going to try to keep this elbow tucked into my body. And then I'm going to release. Now, whichever version you're doing, when you release, really release, like soften everything. And then re-engage. Now, if you can keep your eyes closed, go ahead and do that if that's all right for you. Just because it allows you to listen a little more deeply inside to what you're sensing. Just notice how you're breathing in this. Don't try to control it. On the last time, go ahead and open your eyes and see how far you can look behind, and then come back to the front. Now we're just going to go halfway. So you're not doing a full twist, but maybe a halfway twist. And if you're on the chair, you're grabbing under the chair seat to hold on to. And if you're on the floor, your arm is still supporting you. So in this halfway position, I want you to lift the chin and lift the elbow at the same time, and then drop the chin and drop the elbow. So these look a little bit like cat-cows. You would inhale up, exhale down. One more time like this. Now let's reverse something. Next time you lift the elbow, I'd like for you to look under the elbow. You can still keep your head up, but have your eyes go down. The next time you lower your elbow, have your eyes look up. Elbow lift, eyes down, elbow down, eyes up. We're going to try one more version of this, slightly different. The next time you lift your elbow, have your whole head go down. The next time you lower your elbow, have your head go up. Lift the elbow, head down, lower the elbow, head up. Go ahead and release that, especially those of us that are leaning on our hand. We might even want to undo our leg if your leg's off to the side and sit like this for a second. Just check in. So we'll go to the other side now. Switch your legs if you're seated on the ground. Even if you're sitting cross-legged, switch the cross of your legs. Those of you in the chair, just make sure that you're now twisting to the opposite side. This time my right hand is on my left shoulder. It's like, what body part is that? I was about to say elbow. So first twist, make sure your eyes are open. And then when you release, soften, slump over. The next 3 twists, have your eyes closed. Make sure you're engaging and disengaging the body and doing deep listening to what you're doing inside. So listen in. Where are you feeling this? Where are you sensing this? And release. Are you really releasing? Number 2. And release. And number 3. And release. On the 4th time, open your eyes and look behind you, seeing if you have released some chronic tension. Now we're going to go halfway into a twist, not fully. Eyes are going to stay open for this part. And lift up the elbow, lift the head and the eyes up. That's on the inhale. Lower the elbow, lower the head and the eyes on the exhale. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Third time. Inhaling. Exhaling. Changing up a little bit. Next time you lift the elbow up, have your eyes look under the elbow without moving your head. Next time you lower the elbow down, just have your eyes shifting to the sky. Elbow up, eyes down. Elbow down, eyes up. Now let's change this one more time. The next time you lift your elbow up, have your head go down, look down. The next time you lower your elbow down and soften the front body, look up, chin up. Chin down with the elbow up. Chin up with the elbow down. Let's go ahead and release all of that, especially those of us that have been leaning on that arm a little bit. Do something that feels nourishing. You might just shift around a little bit. You might shake your hands out, particularly if you were leaning on your wrists in any fashion. And close the eyes again and just check in. Check in to what you are sensing inside your body right now. So we'll do a mudra today, which is about presence and deep listening and grounding. And this one is called the Bu mudra, which is the gesture of the earth. It activates grounding. And in this case, curl the fourth finger and the ring finger comfortably toward the palm, and then reach your thumb around to hold them in place. So you have your second finger, your pointer, and your middle finger sticking straight out. And then you just place this either on your legs or on the sides of the chair. Make yourself look like a mountain. The head is the peak of the mountain. These are the slopes. And then obviously your lower body is where the mountain connects to the earth. Okay. The Bu mudra is the gesture of the earth for activating the earth element. So Prithvi means earth and is the name of the earth element, whose qualities include solidity, firmness, immobility, security, and stability. These qualities are experienced within the physical body as strength and structural support, especially in the bones and the joints. The earth element is related to a sense of smell. And as we connect more deeply to the earth, we're able to appreciate all of the fragrances of the natural world. As we attune to the qualities of the earth element within our being, we feel more supported along our journey. All of our basic needs are provided for naturally. At the psychological level, the earth element provides for emotional stability that allows us to move through life with a greater sense of trust and security, which leads to enhanced serenity. So Bu also means earth, and the Bu mudra activates the earth element, supporting us in integrating all of its essential qualities. So your guided meditation is the stability of the mountain. So if you're a visual person, go ahead and visualize yourself as a mountain. You don't mind closing your eyes. As you hold the Bu Mudra, take several natural breaths, tuning into all the feelings and the sensations evoked by the gesture. Visualize your body as a mountain. Your legs and hips are the base, your arms the slopes, and the crown of your head is the mountain peak rising into the sky. With each and every inhale, your spine lengthens naturally. With the exhale, the base of the body connects to the earth more firmly. Sense your breath flowing up and down your spine, creating space between each vertebrae, cultivating a sense of alignment and stability throughout the entire structure of your body. Resting in your mountain stability, take some time to notice how the pause at the end of your exhale is lengthened. This allows you to experience the earth's deep serenity. As you attune more to earth's stability and serenity, you naturally receive all of its healing qualities. Begin by taking several breaths to receive the earth's minerals in the exact quantities you need to support the structure of your body, cultivating optimal bone strength and density. With a greater sense of support, you're able to inhabit your body more completely. You experience all areas of your being integrated as a seamless unity. Inhabiting your body more completely, the serenity of your mountain naturally permeates your thoughts and feelings. Check in, listen deeply to experience security in all of your thoughts and feelings. With a deeper sense of security and a feeling of oneness with the natural world starts to infuse your being. This allows you to be completely at home in your surroundings. Becoming one with the earth and infused with its healing qualities, you're able to rest within your mountain of stability. Notice the absolute stillness. Allow it to permeate your entire being. Listen deeply. As you attune more deeply to the earth, repeat the following 3 times, aloud or silently. As I embody all of Earth's essential qualities, I am supported at each moment along my journey. As I embody all of Earth's essential qualities, I am supported at each moment along my journey. As I embody all of Earth's essential qualities, I am supported at each moment along my journey. Slowly release the gesture. Take several natural breaths, integrating all of the earth's healing qualities. And as you're ready, gently blinking open your eyes, returning slowly and gently, continuing your journey with a greater sense of support and stability. So if you are not coming onto hands and knees, you'll do the cat-cows in a seated position. If you are coming onto hands and knees, you can do the cat-cows, and then even work on a very stabilizing balance here. So you choose. You might want to spread your blanket out over your surface, especially if you're on a mat on the ground, to make sure you're supporting your knees. And then when you go over on your back, it allows you to slide more. So whichever version, and actually we do not call this cat-cow in gentle somatic yoga. We either call it red light, green light, or arch and flatten and curl and flatten. So right now I am arching my back, or I'm doing what's known as green light pose. So my shoulders are pulled back, my belly is jutted either down or forward, and I'm arched. So come back through stillness, through neutral. This is what neutral is. And then the red light, or the curl, would be drawing the navel in, the shoulders come up toward the ears. You're creating a little bit of a tech neck. And then come back through neutral again. So if you're adding in the head, when you arch, you're dropping the chin to the chest through neutral. If you're drawing the navel up, the shoulders are coming up towards your ears, you're lifting the head and back through neutral. So each neutral should release all the tense muscles. And add in a natural breath. In general, we breathe in when we're arching, and we exhale when we are curling. Now, if you're on your hands and knees, we're going to go into a balance. If you're in a chair, you could do a standing balance. So just working with one side of the body at a time. On hands and knees, we're going to do opposite arm and opposite leg, and breathe. Whichever one you're doing, take a rest in between, either balancing between both feet, or if you are on your hands and knees, shifting into a child's pose or a puppy pose, and resting. And make your way to the other side to do your balance. And once again, releasing the balance, whichever one you're doing, either rebalancing between both legs if you're doing a standing balance, a puppy pose, or a child's pose if you were doing the balance on hands and knees. So if you don't want to do something on your stomach, you can do this against a wall, but you can also, work directly on your stomach, even if you're on a sofa, and come all the way down and draw hands next to the chest. Now your head is a bobblehead, so it can either just be leaning on the ground, or you can just bobble it up and down. And I want you to concentrate on moving the shoulders in a swimming fashion. They're making little ellipses. and then do backwards ellipses. And rest in some fashion. If you're standing, you may go sit down to rest. If you're doing this against a wall, if you're on the belly, you're resting your head on your arms and swinging your legs gently to release any low back tension that may have been created in this little routine. So if you're doing this against a wall, you're going to be standing on one leg and then bending back the other leg. If you're doing this on the ground, you might even reach for this leg and lift up a little bit, getting a little more of a whole kind of, it's sort of a stretch. You're getting into your quad a little bit. And if you're against a wall and you do have a strap, and you need probably an 8-foot or 10-foot strap, you could put the strap around the ankle and then just hold it. Whichever one you're doing, it's hard to stretch this quad, and that's a great way to stretch the quad. Go ahead and relax in some fashion. And then we'll set up to do the other side. You could just be bending back this one leg. And if you're against a wall and you have a strap, you could put the strap around the ankle and just hold on to the strap. If you're on a sofa, a bed, or the floor, you can also use the strap or use the arm to really get that front of that quad to lengthen. It can be a little intense for the back. So whichever one you're doing, go ahead and release again. And if you're laying down, make a pillow with the arms and just shift your legs side to side. If you're standing up, you might just walk around the room. And we're going to turn to our side for a minute. So if you need something extra for under your head, which most of us do, I think it's hard to lean the head completely on the ground. So you're laying on a side, and if you're on like a sofa, just make sure your knees are pointed out, not towards your back of your sofa. And check in with your head for a second, making sure that your head is not leaning too far forward. You're almost visualizing you have a high back chair and that your head is able to lean back. And place the top arm right here on this hip. Now we're just going to do a little more work for this shoulder for a second by turning the hand inside out to the sky, which will activate the muscles in the front of the shoulder, and then coming back toward neutral. And then to activate the back of the shoulder, open up the hand toward the sky, feel the back of the shoulder engage, and come to neutral. So forward motion, neutral, and back motion, neutral. Now for the hips, it's a pretty small, subtle motion. So right now my knees are stacked right on top of each other. My legs, look like they're fitting completely together with glue. But if I want to shift my hip forward, I'm just going to drag that knee, the top knee, maybe 1/4 of an inch in front of the bottom knee, and then draw it back. And then I'm going to pull back just a little to get that hip to come up back a little. and then go back to neutral. So shift it forward and neutral, shift it back. And these are really small moves and neutral. So now you just want the hip and the shoulder to do the opposite thing. So you're going to shift the hip forward, open up the hand to the shoulder, shifts back. Shift the hip back, turn the hand inside out. So the shoulder shifts forward. Do that just a couple of times. And then while we're here, if you can lengthen the top leg a little bit, just lift it up, draw it back, and then soften, and then go the other way. Go forward and soften. Now change the foot position a little to change what part of the leg is working. I'm going to turn my toes down, draw it back, and then release and soften. Re-engage, toes down, draw it forward, release and soften. Maybe try one more version with the toes slightly turned up. This one I find really hard. So my toes are up. This really cinches me on the hip. And release. So you have to do less if it's causing you pain. You don't go into pain. And release it. Now, one more thing we'll do while we're laying on this one side is we'll stack the arms on top of each other and then just open up the top arm to the sky, opening into somewhat of a twist, and then closing it, opening up into a twist. Now, for this one, you don't necessarily need the pillow. I find the pillow can be a little restrictive here. And opening into the twist and releasing. So whichever versions of this you have done, we're all going to lay on our back and we'll realign everything for a moment. So shift around, maybe windshield wiper a few times. And then do some pelvic rocks where you're rocking your hips forward, pushing the feet in the ground, coming back through neutral, rock your hips toward the rib cage, back through neutral. You can add the arms, and if you want, when you rock forward, pin the arms into the ground. When you rock back, you can tuck the chin, elbows up. You don't have to do this part. What we're trying to do is realign to the center our pelvis. Don't forget to deeply listen inside what your body is telling you. So we're going to repeat this whole sequence to the other side. So set yourself up on your side. Okay. Make sure your legs are stacked, that your head is not falling too far forward. So you're visualizing that you have a high back chair behind your neck. Start with the arm just draped on your top leg. Turn the hand inside out to activate the front of the shoulder. Release to neutral. Now open up the hand to the sky, which should activate the back of the shoulder. Release to neutral. Inside out and neutral. Open and neutral. One last time for the arms. Inside out. Neutral. Open and neutral. Now let's do the hips. So you're just sliding the top leg 1/4 of an inch forward to shift that hip forward. And then draw the knees back parallel to each other so that the hip is back to being neutral. Then sliding that top leg slightly back so the knee is maybe 1/4 of an inch behind the bottom knee, and then coming back to neutral. Very small movements, very effective movements for releasing chronic hip tension and low back. All right, last time. So now we're going to put it all together. So when the hip shifts slightly forward, open up your arm, engaging the back of the shoulder. When your hip shifts slightly back, turn the hand inside out, engaging the front of the shoulder. Do this a few times at your own pace, not going into pain. Okay, now stopping that action, stretching the top leg a little bit toward the front and lifting it and bringing that leg toward the back, softening the knee and resting, re-engaging that leg, drawing the leg to the front, softening the knee and let it go. Put your foot in a different position, maybe toes down. Do the same action, feel different muscles working. Make sure you're engaging and disengaging muscles. That's what the brain needs. It needs contrast. Last time, maybe toes turned slightly up. In this version, you might have to bend the knee a little bit more. Make sure you've released it. Re-engage. Draw the leg forward. And release and soften everything. Stack both arms on top of each other. Open up the top arm to the ceiling. You might want to remove the thing up from under your head. Open it up as far as feels right to twist. And release back down. And 2 more times. And last time. Let this whole thing go. Lay on your back. Maybe some windshield wipers would feel good here. Maybe some pelvic rocking. Maybe knees into the chest and circling the hips. Whatever you need to get yourself settled into your Shavasana, maybe a happy baby. And we'll do another little deep listening from Julian Pransky's book for our final rest. Okay. So make your way into your most comfortable Shavasana position. And here's a reading from Julian Pransky, and then I'll guide you through another one of her meditations. The breath brings our mind home. Stressful situations will always arise in our life. And sometimes it will feel as if there's no solid ground to support us. But each time we pause and replace our attention on the breath, our mind comes home to our body. Each time we replace our attention on our breath, we grow more grounded. For a moment, we stop thinking about the future or replaying the past. For a moment, we can stop zipping around trying to make things better. Paying attention to our breath brings us here, into the present. This is where we're able to notice what's happening within us, do some deep listening, and around us on a moment-to-moment basis. It is the fastest, most efficient way to draw ourselves out of the cycle of anxiety, out of the cycle of not okayness, and into a state where we feel centered and calm. Listening to your breath. Imagine being with someone who loves and supports you, a friend, a teacher, someone who really means it when they say, "Sweetheart, you don't have to work so hard. You can relax. Come relax with me. Just for right now, there's nothing to get, nowhere to go. It's okay not to work so hard." Exhale, as if all your work is done. Now find the space at the end of your exhale. Feel that space at the end of your breath, even for only one breath. Allow yourself to feel what it feels like to be done. Now listen to your breath as it comes and goes. Listen to your inhale as it fills you. Listen while your breath says to you, "Hey, come here. Come be with me. Let's be together. Let's be together, here and now." So this signals the end of our time together today. Hopefully you found a way to deeply listen to what's going on inside of you, which is such a healing practice. Find your way to seated if you're not already there, and gather anything that was helpful to you today. Draw it towards your heart. Let's bow toward these practices and toward each other and acknowledge that we are connected and that when we practice together, we're also helping each other heal. Namaste.